impossible foe. And it was such an amazing experience. I don't know if you guys, well, I'll leave that for a little surprise later. Who played Bill in that scene later? So.
Well, when Neil finishes writing the script for, let's say, the scene, and he emails it off to you two, what happens next?
Typically, within about 15 minutes, Neil knows that he's going to expect a phone call from me because he's made himself so accessible to both of us, and we really have the chance to sit down and talk about the scene beforehand. And she and I will probably, independently, because we'll get the scenes a few days beforehand before we rehearse. And we'll just sit and kind of digest because there's a lot of content. There's not one scene that's a filler. There's not one that isn't incredibly purposeful and serves the story. And well, just like to take us through a typical day. What do we do?
Yeah, typical day. Usually we'll get the sides, the script for maybe
5, 6 scenes.
Yeah, 5, 6 scenes. A couple days before.
Yep.
And then we'll have a day of just rehearsal, where we'll sit around the table. If it's just a scene with the two of us, then we'll sit around the table with just us and Neil. And we'll just go over it for hours at a time, go through the script, go through the dialogue, and just really work it out, see what works, what doesn't work.
Ask a lot of questions.
Ask a lot of questions, yeah. And then we go to the stage, which we're right next to the stage. We'll go to the stage where we'll be actually shooting, working. And we'll put it up on its feet and we'll rehearse it. We'll block it out. If you have to go through this door, that'll be over here. If you have to shoot somebody, you'll use this gun. So that's all. That's pretty much what we do. And then the next day, we'll actually put on the suit and we'll go to work.
What's really cool is about having that day of rehearsal to work through the logistics, so that we're not focused on the physicality of the stage and where we're actually supposed to run down these stairs and burst through this door. That gives us the freedom to really spend those 2 days of filming, to really focus on the emotional aspect, the dramatic aspect of what those scenes are trying to say, and all those slight little moments that make that moment really have weight. We have the opportunity to really spend time sussing those out. So that rehearsal day is incredibly crucial.
Well, how much does the script change from when you end up at a table read to the final moment?
It really depends. I mean, keep in mind, Neil Druckmann is an incredible writer, and he'll never tell you that himself, but it really is true. The guy has an absolute gift, and the way that he and Bruce are partnered up together, where they'll have this idea, and they'll just kind of go to their separate corners, and Neil goes off and he writes it and directs us in the performances of it, and then Bruce goes and makes sure that the game can support that choice. But there's times when we've seen a scene from a dialogue standpoint really, really change. Typically, it gets pared down. Right before we started this project, I was reading about Steve McQueen, and specifically when he was on the movie The Great Escape, which I absolutely love. The first day of filming, Steve McQueen shows up on set with his script, and there's just red lines all the way throughout it that he had put himself. He marked up his own script. And he handed it back to the director, and there was like, he was saying Great Escape, you know what I'm talking about? Fantastic movie, right? The scene where he keep getting put back in the clink, and he's like, throwing the ball up against the wall. There were monologues every time. And he told the director, he's like, look, I'll give you eyes, and I'll sit there with that ball, but I'm not going to say anything. This character would not say anything. And so Steve McQueen cut lines of himself, cut them out of the script, and he cut his face time, which is what every actor wants to get, by less because it served the character more. And so that's something that she and I are really focused on, and what's great is that Neil is too, because a lot of times I think people, especially because, again, the narrative is so young in video games, and I don't think that directors or writers or game makers, period, really trust that the player can intuitively pick up on certain aspects of their story, that they feel like they have to give a line to a character to give it exposition, to really tell the story. So what are you thinking here, Jill? Well, I'll tell you, Vince. I'm telling you, and in this, the story's so good, the characters are so well established, and gamers are smart these days that Neil is trusting in that. And so we typically, what mainly changes is the fact that we take away less. And with the beauty that we have in our animators, being able to really interpret from a physical standpoint and apply that to a character model, all of those things that help us sell intention, the looks and the nods, things like that, are able to be seen in game. So there's less that we have to say and more that you get to see.
Well, there's a lot of, I mean, you're talking about subtleties or the character and how you're doing it on the first conversation, how it translates to the cutscene. How do you prep for coming onto the stage? How do you get into the character?
Yeah, you know, when we're emailed the scenes, we definitely, at least for me, I'll go over them, I'll read through them, you know, sort of figure out where we are in the story. But a lot of it, that rehearsal day is so important, that first day that we have, because, you know, I don't prepare exactly how I'm going to say everything.
Right.
You know, both of us on the day, when it's like, okay, let's just be in this moment and see how we're both going to react when this happens or that happens. You know, and that's how we keep it, I feel, the most natural.
Yeah, we love listening to each other, just having a conversation as opposed to reciting our lines. So I think that one thing that we've had to do together is the best way that we can prepare ourselves is to be prepared for anything. And understand, again, where we are at the story and be familiar with our lines so that we're not having to look at the page, but not be attached to anything, because it can completely change the second that she hears me sing something or I hear her sing something. And that allows for Joel and Ellie to be in the scene as opposed to just Troy, actually.
Well, we have behind the scenes look at when you're on the performance capture stage.
Oh boy, in the suits?
Yeah, in the suits.
You're in for a treat. And this is the same scene that we did, right?
Yes.
Keep those for me, please, cameras.
Pay attention, you'll see that we have a microphone
Marker?
here. So we're actually getting the audio. The audio that you hear in the game is the audio that we actually recorded on stage.
Man, that was close. Thanks for the heroics and all. Ellie. Hey, what are you... Joel?
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill!
Let me go.
Turn around and get on your knees.
Just calm down a second.
Turn around.
All right.
Get on your knees. Don't test me. Just
Take it easy.
any bites?
No.
Anything sprout?
Oh, God damn it, I'm clean!
Well, if I see so much as a twitch. Ow!
Stop!
Son of a bitch!
You done?
Am I done? You come into my house. You set off all my traps. You damn near break my shooting arm. Who the fuck is this punk and what's she doing here?
I am none of your goddamn business, and we're here because you owe Joel some favors. And you can start by taking these off.
I owe Joel some favors. Is some kind of joke?
I'll cut to the chase. I need a car.
Well, it is a joke. Joel needs a car. Well, if I had one that works, which I sure as hell don't, what makes you think I'd just give it to you? Huh? Yeah, sure, Joel, go ahead. Take my car. Take all my food, too, while you're at it.
By the looks of it, you could lose some of that food.
You listen to me, you little
No,
shit.
fuck you! You handcuffed
I
me!
need you to shut up. All right?
Whatever favors you think I owe you ain't worth that much.
Actually, Bill, they are.
Well, it don't matter because I don't have a car that works.
But there is one in this town.
Parts. There are parts in this town.
Meaning that you could fix one up.
All right. If I'm gonna do this, there's some gear I'm gonna need.
All right.
It's on the other side of town. Now you help me go gather it, and maybe I can put something together that runs. But after this, I owe you nothing.
That's fine. A couple days from now, we'll probably be dead anyway.
Good. Follow me. Whole goddamn town's booby-trapped. Best stay right on my ass.
Can't miss it.
Knock it off.
So yeah, any Deadwood fans in the house would recognize, yes, the
Clear.
lovely W. Earl Brown played Dan Doherty, was also in Something About Mary, played Warren, Franklin Bates, that guy. He did such an amazing job, and like I said, there was a little microphone right there, so we were actually able to capture 90, maybe 95% of the audio from the cinematics were actually captured on the day when we're actually capturing, when we're shooting. And what's so great about that ability is there's a line that Bill has where Joel says, are you done? And Bill says, am I done? And he was just getting over this cold. And so when he said that line, he kind of had that chest rattle that you get when you've been sick for a while. And that's the way we talk. It's those subtle imperfections that really lend to the realisticness of the character, the reality of the character. And so I love that we have this process that enables us to pick up all those little things. So it's really cool. I love watching that scene.
You can really sort of see how great the interpersonal relationship is between Joel and Ellie in your faces, and you're really throwing yourself into the characters. How did you end up building sort of that relationship, and we just sort of tell what they're going through?
How do we do that? How do we become friends?
We've been shooting and recording for a year and a half now. So, but when we first met, which was, I was cast first, and then we had the auditions for Joel. And we went through, I don't know how many Joels, and some guys were good, but, when this kid came in, it was just instantly that connection was there. Like we'd known each other for a long time, and it was just right. That was it. So I think, you guys know when you meet somebody, you're either friends with them, you have that feeling right away, like, joking around with that person. That's how it was with Troy. So that needed to be there since the game is basically the two of us the whole time. So that relationship needed to work.
Absolutely. She said it good. She talked good.
You talk good, me talk bad.
Well, so much of The Last of Us really focuses around Joel and Ellie, but in this cutscene you actually have a third person in the other scene.